This is Alice Cooper, and this is The Haunting of KGGO.com, a KGGO.com exclusive.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Season 2 of The Haunting of KGGO.com. This is a KGGO.com exclusive, and if you don't remember what we did last year, basically during the month of October, we decided to have different paranormal groups into the studio and talk about the paranormal. Everything that goes bump in the night was under the microscope, per se. And during this little adventure, I was your host, B-sox, and this year I'm going to be your host again. Now, joining me in studio for the first episode...
Number one.
First episode of Season 2, ladies and gentlemen, from Forest City, Iowa. They are from the Ministers of the Haunted. Ladies and gentlemen, Jon and Dustin. I had to pull up the name because as bad as this has started today, I had to make sure I got it right. So Jon, Dustin, join me. Welcome, and thank you for coming, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Now, here's the thing. We're going to have a conversation about ghosts. Can we handle that?
I think we can.
I believe so.
After all of the technical difficulties
we may have brought a few ghosts with us into the building.
It never fails with this whole thing. Whenever we go to get started with it, something always kind of fails or doesn't want to work or whatever. So anyways, welcome to the studio, Ministers of the Haunted. You can find out more about them at their website, ministersofthehaunted.com. We'll have all their social links and all that at the bottom of the page. Guys, tell me about yourselves. How did you get into the paranormal, Ministers of the Haunted, MOTH, if you will?
MOTH.
How did it all start for you guys? Let's start there.
Well, it started, John and Jamie, who Jamie's not here with us tonight. They were on part of another team. They branched off and started their own team. And a few months down the road, I saw Jamie was going on a ghost hunt. I was like, dude, I like this stuff. Bring me along with. And then that's how I met John. And then, 4 years later, here we are.
So,
yeah, about 4 or 5 years, somewhere around there.
So for you just had an interest in
I had an
this.
interest.
Okay.
I was like everybody else. I watched all the shows. This stuff's fun.
See, that's how I think some people get into it. I think people have different paths into it where there's either just an interest, like they're interested in it, they want to learn more about it, or they're kind of interested in it, something happens and they don't know how to explain it, they don't know how to reconcile it, and they want to know more. So they get into it.
That was me, and then there was also personal experiences along the way that I was like, okay, I believe. Let me go find the truth.
All right, we'll get to those here in a second. John, how did you get into all this?
I've been dealing with the paranormal ever since I was a child. I mean, 4 or 5 years old, growing up, I grew up near Native American burial land, stuff like that. So I've been able to actually see the unknown before, knowing what it actually was. But growing up and then, just spending times in cemeteries and, being around what people call the uncomfortable side of the unknown, it's always had an interest. And then Buddy and I started a team a long time ago. And from there we branched. We created Ministers of the Haunted. Jamie and I were actually up and running the other team really, really well. We just had a fallout.
Okay.
Branched off, created this, and we've been running strong ever since.
So how long has Ministers of the Haunted been around? I like how everybody kind of...
2015.
He's got a tattoo on his side with the date on it.
Not my phone, not my calendar, not anything like that. I got a tattoo that says where it's from. So, you guys kind of come together, everything, lines up, you start a group. Tell me about Ministers of the Haunted, because I think that there are different types of groups out there. We were talking off air about this. I think there are groups out there that are out there for the adrenaline rush. They just want to experience it. There are people out there that want to know more about it. They just want to find, they want to find that holy grail of, footage or audio. I also think there's groups out there that are in it for the fame. They want to be famous for it. Where does Ministers of the Haunted kind of fall into that?
We are more of we want to help people.
Okay.
To the effect of there's different groups. I'm a firm believer and other people disagree with me, that there are definitely different groups. There are, and we're all ghost hunters, so we're all under that one label. But some people are just pure ghost hunters. They go out for the adrenaline rush.
Mm-hmm.
They go to all the paid locations to do that. And then there's paranormal investigators, which is a distinction,
Okay.
where we go to homes and other places to help investigate what's going on
Okay.
and help those people out and clear out what's going on.
John?
Ministers of the Haunted is more of the...
You got serious all of a sudden.
Yeah,
As soon as the
me too.
cameras and the everything went on, you're like, I got
I
a
stayed the
tattoo that
same.
says it, and there we go. No,
We-
it's cool, man. But you, it seems, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like you have kind of a different take on this.
Yeah. I'm one of those that there are the difference between the groups. I mean, there's the ghost hunters that literally just go and they want to have fun, where you've got the actual paranormal investigators that go out and they're actually out to help people. They're out to help, solve the issues that are happening. And most of the time, if those people can't solve the issue, that's when we come into play. They get hold of us
Okay.
to go in and clean. It's almost like we're the cleanup crew.
Okay. All right. So you're damage control
Yeah.
Yeah.
from Marvel. You're damage control.
We're more of the Avengers.
No. Okay. You're the Avengers then. Hawkeye and Black Widow over here.
He's
Black Widow.
No, but and that's not to and I don't say that to like rag on any
Right.
groups out there or anything, but I do think there are groups out there that it's like the plumber that comes over, and I told you guys
Yeah.
off air. It's like the plumber that comes over and says, "Yep, you got a leak.
Can't do nothing about it. I'm going to call this guy.
All right, you want to fix the water that's raining down from my attic?" You want people that either are going to find you answers or fix the problem. So, anyways, oops, as I hit the microphone. All right, so what type of cases, where do you guys go? I mean, Forest City, it's a little bit, north of here. Obviously, it's almost by Minnesota. What is it that you guys go out and do? Like, how do you investigate? How do you get cases? How do you do what you do?
A lot of our cases,
And I know that was a really roundabout
was-
way of coming around to the question.
that took the long trip. A lot of
Scenic.
our cases are usually a reference from another team. Hey, we couldn't handle this.
Okay.
Can you come take a look? A lot of times, those would be our travel investigations. If we have to come down this far, it's usually a reference.
Okay.
But more organically at home, they just found our website.
Okay.
Typed in. They say we've typed into Google ghost hunters, and you guys popped up.
All right. Now, what are some places you've, not the residential type
Right.
thing, because you got to, protect that, but places you've gone. Where have you gone? What have you seen?
Our favorite place is obviously Farrar, just right outside here in Maxwell, Farrar area. You're welcome, Will.
Will is probably going to be on the show at some point
Yeah.
during this month. So,
And he always likes a plug for Farrar. That's 2.
Farrar. We should have a counter down.
How many times are we going to say it? 16 more times? Farrar's our favorite place. We just did a library up in northern Iowa, Alden, Iowa. And that was a fun one for me. Because, my aunt's a librarian, so libraries hold a small interest to me.
Runs in my blood.
Runs in my blood. But just in a library, there's so much history based on what's been donated to the library.
Okay.
So like old town ledgers, the town maps.
Yeah.
At this particular one, there was a lock of hair.
Yeah,
from
there was a hair doll.
Yeah.
Like
A what?
Yeah.
It was a doll literally made fully out of hair. And it's
Why?
people
it
would
was what
donate.
you did back in the day.
Okay.
Like we're like 1800s. You didn't have Barbies. They had
Hair dolls. They had Cousin It dolls.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, all right. So you do a lot of the, like historical places. We talked a little bit about that you guys kind of get into the darker side of things. I want to touch on that here in a little bit. When you guys do go into an investigation, how do you investigate? Because another thing with, paranormal investigation is there's no real right way or wrong way to do it. There's what works for you. What works for you guys?
We all
You had a look on your face. What
Go
was
ahead.
that?
Most of the time when we go into an investigation, I always like to contact the person that's getting hold of us. I'd like to find out the history of the actual location.
Okay.
Title abstracts, any deeds, any property records. I want all that information.
So you do the deep dive into
I do the deep dive.
Okay.
I'm going back to when the place was first actually founded.
Even just the lot itself. When was that made into a home? Because at some point, that wasn't a home. That was something else. What was it before?
Could have been war land. Could have been Indian native land. I mean, there's...
Well, everything has a history. You just don't always know.
We just want to know how far back can we go to maybe pinpoint what's harassing the...
Okay,
owner.
so in that case, when you guys actually do go into the place, though, is it scientific based? Is it a lot of equipment? Is it, John, you were mentioning, you've been dealing with this for a while. Is it, and I don't know if this is the proper term, but is it the feeling of the place?
Most of the time when I go into a place, I run almost no equipment. I'm going in blindsided. Not really blindsided by not knowing what's there, but I like to go in without, having a digital voice recorder or an EMF detector.
He's equipmentless.
I go equipmentless when I go in because I pick up on the things that are there and the things that I actually want to play.
Okay.
Then we have team members that go in that literally will only do ITC, or will also look for, like an EMF field around refrigerators, fuse boxes, panels, and stuff like that, because you get what they call the fear cage effect, where it feels like you're being watched.
Yeah.
But there's actually a scientific reason behind it.
Yeah. Which I think Ghost Hunters kind of pointed that out on their show a lot.
One of the things that I think most decent ghost hunting teams do is they go in and debunk what they can debunk right away. Hey, I'm feeling this in this particular area. John won't, but the rest of us will walk in with their equipment and go, okay, there's a strong magnetic field here. What's it coming from?
You've got an old lamp that's just putting out a ton of whatever.
Or it's right next to on the fuse boxes on this side of the wall, and they're feeling it on the other side. Your energy could be coming from here, giving you all that.
See, so that would not make you the Iron Man of the group.
No.
He's not Tony Stark.
So, all right. So you're into a place. You've got kind of things set up. What equipment do you guys use?
Most of us run with the same basic set of equipment. We all have spirit box. We all have EMF detectors. I carry laser thermometers with me.
Yeah. So you can get temperature readings.
And I it's just the old school trigger. I keep them side by side. One's getting the temperature across the room, and one's getting the temperature right in front of me.
All right. And you go in with your mind.
I go in with my mind. Occasionally, I will take a digital voice recorder just so if I'm picking up on something, I can go, hey, this spirit that I'm feeling, can you come speak into this device to let me know that you're here?
Real quick, can you imagine being a ghost from, like the 1700s or something, and someone saying, speak into this box?
What's that box going to do?
Why? Can't you hear me?
Yeah.
There's part of, it just brought up a weird image in my head of, will ghosts in the future be easier to talk to because they know about a recorder?
Or
everything that, we use now, they get to play with now, they die, and it's like, oh, hey, I remember that from...
Or is it going to be harder because they know how to avoid it?
I don't know. Depends on the ghost.
Right.
Maybe it's a ghost that wants to be talked to. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is the haunting of KGGO.com, a KGGO.com exclusive. My name is B-sox. Joining me in studio from Forest City, Iowa, the Ministers of the Haunted. You can find out more about them, ministersofthehaunted.com. Jon and Dustin in studio with me. All right, so we've kind of established that. So you guys, I'm trying to think of the right term for it. There is a spiritual side to things and a technology side of things with you guys.
Yep.
Yes.
So that brings us to this part of the conversation. Of all the places you guys have gone together, or even separate, whatever, what is the, I don't want to say scariest place because that's too easy.
Right.
What's the place that's most memorable to you? Like you go, when you go to, it's like the good fishing spot.
Here comes another plug. Farrar.
Really?
Yeah. Every time we hit Farrar, there is something that happens to one of us along the way. First time we investigated there as a team, we were actually tearing down all our equipment.
I'm asleep.
No, you were tearing down the DVR system, and me and John Jamie. Yeah, John's down below, and Jamie's on the other side, and we're just standing there going, have a normal conversation. All of a sudden, we hear a little girl's voice go, "Don't go."
Oh, really?
And then me and Jamie look up at each other and go, because we're professionals, we know not to talk. And then it happened again. And we looked down. John, did you hear that? No. We're like, okay, cool. And when we didn't have any recorders on, it was just because we were tearing down.
Yeah.
Little girl's voice saying, "Don't go."
That's kind of the weird. So I caught an EVP of a little girl one time, and I'll tell you this, but there wasn't a little girl on that trip.
Yeah.
It's one of those. How?
Yeah.
How is this possible?
Yeah.
So, all right. So Farrar's a good one. What's a place you like going, or maybe there's a place you don't like going because it's overwhelming.
I've got to say
That might be a better one for you.
Yeah.
Well, one of the best cases that we've done, this was before Dustin got involved. We actually did a private residence in Missouri.
Where?
Missouri, Iowa, just south of Ventura.
Okay. I've never heard of it before.
So Jamie and I went in. We're the only team members that are running this investigation. We meet with the client. We're talking to her. And you could hear audible footsteps running up and down the steps. You can hear everything playing into effect. Well, funny story to that is we took about a 10-minute break of, okay, let's go to the bathroom. Let's, grab something to munch on.
Yeah.
I go use the bathroom. I'm walking out of the bathroom, and the entity that was actually in the house pushed up against the shower door and broke the shower door, that it dropped into the bottom of the bathtub.
Weird.
And mind you that I'm 6-7 feet away from the actual side of where the shower door was at. And everybody comes running up, and I'm like, yeah, it just busted the shower door. Sorry, but you signed the liability waiver that says we're okay, that any damages are on you, not us.
Those waivers, man.
Waivers are very important.
Oh,
But
boy.
a lot of places that we go to, I don't have a tendency of being afraid of going into them. I like the dark, creepy, the places that people can't fit are the places that I actually go into because
Like crawl spaces
Yeah,
or... Okay. What was the... God, look.
Well, because he's a lot smaller than me, and he can go into all the places. I'm like, I want to fit in there, but I'm just too round.
Happens to the best of us, man.
Yeah.
It really does. All right, so what's a place that's uncomfortable for you then, John?
Have you met one yet?
I actually haven't met an uncomfortable place.
Because you have a process, and we were talking about, and maybe this is a good time to bring this up, that you have a way of going about these things that, you hear in some of the ghost shows and paranormal shows, oh, you don't want to, don't invite something into you and all this. Unless I'm mistaken, you kind of do that, right?
I am...
You invite things that go, hey.
When he has to, he does.
I'm technically what you could classify as a medium empath / channeler.
Okay.
So I allow things to actually overtake my body. I can see what history, they have in the building or even on the land itself. Then I have ways of getting rid of them out of my body, or if we need to, per se, transfer them to a different location, they get removed.
You become a cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The easiest way of putting it is I'm the walking cooler of letting
or a
things
transfer case, maybe. He transfers it to another. Yeah. Something there.
Okay, just because I don't know you. I mean, we met, an hour ago because of a computer. It would have been
that
shorter
was
than
2
that.
hours ago.
But explain to me that whole process and what that's like, because I don't want to say I'm skeptical of it, but I don't have a lot of experience with it. So when something, hey, take over the driver's seat, what's that process like?
A lot of it is I will almost go into a meditative state.
Okay.
Where I will just sit. I normally have one of the team members with, just so that way they could actually document everything that's actually happening in play.
Okay.
And most of the time, I'll start getting the weird chills. I'll start getting the goosebumps. I will start feeling almost like I'm in another world.
Okay.
It's very similar to what they call like an astral projection, where you feel like your spirit's brought out. That's what it feels like when they overtake me.
All right, that's the astral projection stuff is just crazy.
Where it's nice because
really good at flying is what I found out.
It's nice because I can see then what is actually happening.
Okay.
I mean, there's times where we've been in places that, I mean, we did a house, where was that? Woden?
Yeah.
That
Small town up by us.
Okay.
the entity that was actually in the house, I don't really want to call it a fallen angel.
Okay.
But when I let this thing overtake, I could feel like there was angel wings being ripped off my back. He even saw the proof. He lifted my shirt and you could see the red marks that were running down my back where it looked like something ripped it off my back. And mind you that I'm just being the vessel that...
Now, I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but you understand why there would be skepticism with that, something like that, right?
Yep.
And we actually have proof from our clients that whenever I become the vessel, things stop in their places.
Okay.
Like our Missouri case, the house that the client was living in, we got rid of the entity that was there, and then she actually called us back to bless her other house.
Okay.
So that way she knew that house was being protected. It was being taken care of.
Okay, what's the darkest thing you've ever come across then? If not scary or anything like that, but darkest.
The darkest are playing more with the demons. Those are...
And okay, with that in mind, are there demons among us?
Yes. And most of... Going back to the ghost hunting shows, a lot of the times they say they pop up as little children.
Okay. Is that the black-eyed children thing?
That's a whole other separate...
Okay. Yeah.
But a lot of the times when they start coming out as children is when I'm starting to see their actual true self.
Okay.
And that's when they normally try refraining from coming towards me, and they'll go after the team.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So can you actually see things?
Yes.
Like, when you look at what is it like to see it?
A lot of the times...
Like, if you were going to, see a ghost or an apparition or a demon or something in this room, from your perspective, what would it look like?
Depending on what it was, I'll sometimes see the red eyes, or I'll see just the black shadow mass. I'll see white. I'll see blue. I'll see red. I'll see...
Is it translucent? Can you see through? Because this has always been interesting to me, because it's... I know it's probably hard to describe something like that, but when you're looking at, if you were, watching TV or whatever and they show a ghost on it, it's like, okay, that's what it looks like.
That's what you're conditioned to think it looks like.
But when I'm looking at you guys through this, what's on camera is going to be different. What's it like for you to actually look across the room and see something? How does it manifest to you?
The easiest way to explain it is if you were looking at a kaleidoscope.
Really?
Where
does it take up
around
the whole...
you is a different multiple shades, multiple colors, but you're able to still see perfectly straight down the middle.
Okay.
If you were looking down a football field, you're able to see that opposite post, but everything that's around you to the sides is multiple, hazy.
A little bit of tunnel vision with kaleidoscope.
Yeah. Okay. All right, that's interesting. I mean, because from my point of view, it's hard to imagine walking in a room and just seeing, Gus the demon over there.
Right.
I guess. So there is an interest to me of what is it like to see something like that?
It's like Dustin put it, it's tunnel vision with a kaleidoscope.
Okay.
That's how that happened to me the other night.
Yeah, that's normal in our neck of the
we
woods.
live 2 blocks away from each other, so when he starts playing, things start happening in my house, and we're like...
I get the message 2 days later, did you do this?
Yes, I
yeah.
did.
Can you please stay out of my house when I'm showering?
We have some protectors that we call on some cases, and I wasn't at the case. I had to work that night for some reason, and the next night I texted him. I like, did you call on these guys? Yeah, they came and visited me at work. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Interesting. We have the Ministers of the Haunted in studio with us. This is the haunting of KGGO.com, a KGGO.com exclusive. We'll have all their information at the bottom of the page. You can watch this on YouTube or on your favorite podcasting platform. All right, so let's talk about, you've done some of the darker stuff. What's some of the more, a place you've been that you walk down and you're like, did that happen? Not so much scary, but, maybe good or weird or strange.
Oskaloosa.
Okay, Oski.
You go with Oski, because I have a horrible experience with Oski.
Oski was interesting.
I want to hear the horrible here in a second.
Well,
but
it
you
has
tell-
nothing to do with ghosts.
There's funny stories to Oski, and there's serious stories with Oski. The serious story was we were actually in a hospital.
Former
hospital turned into
apartment complex.
Slumlord apartment complex.
Which it's not anymore because the new owner is really nice and wants us to come back.
Yes.
That is good. It's always good when someone wants you to come back.
I just did a deadpan to the camera and smiled too. So,
but that building, 4 floors, you still had the morgue. You still had some of the original.
The original operating room was.
The operating room was still there.
Really?
The rooms, I mean, had crap in them, but it wasn't like.
Was it ghost crap or real crap?
Real crap.
It was
literally real crap.
The prior owner would allow homeless to move in, charge them like $50 a week to rent a room.
Okay.
Well, then if they couldn't pay, he threw a padlock on their door, locked their stuff inside, kicked them out. You're done.
Okay.
So most of this was actual human materials that were around in the floors. Jamie and I were actually down in the the basement / morgue. It's just a giant room, and it used to be a bar prior.
Okay.
And
this place has character.
Jamie and I are here.
You're trying to figure out where it's at in your head?
The bar thing kind of
They originally they put like big barn doors on the front of the morgue.
Okay.
Left it open to the.
I feel like I know this place, but I can't.
We can't plug away where
we
it's
can't
at.
plug too far because.
No, I get it. Okay, so anyways, so weird stuff happens in this joint.
And while Jamie and I were sitting down in the morgue, and all of a sudden I'm starting to get that weird hazy. I'm starting to almost slip out like into a lucid dream. And Jamie's like, hey, I'm feeling this guy over here. I'm feeling this guy. So I go over to where the guy is at. And I mean, we had an EMF detector. We had a K2 meter, digital voice recorder. And I mean, we're picking up on this dude trying to contact us. When he first showed up, mind you, I'm sitting in the solid dark. So I'm actually being able to see the gray shadow of him standing there. Okay. And I mean, he's standing dead straight in front of me. Looks normal as can be. Looks like a normal person, like I'm talking to you. And all of a sudden, it's like he's leading me towards where his body was at.
Oh, boy.
So I walk over and I'm like, okay, if you want to show me what actually happened, I'm letting you actually overtake me. I took off my pentagram necklace, handed it to Jamie, and I'm like, here, let's figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
When he actually overtook me is when he actually showed me what happened. He was a suicide victim.
Oh, boy. That's got to be rough.
Yeah.
So, mind you, that I'm seeing the blood. I'm seeing half the face torn off. I'm seeing everything. And mind you...
Some gunshot, probably?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a self-inflicted. But mind you, before he died, he was still alive. They tried actually saving him. So, I'm walking with my eyes closed through this hospital that... I mean, there's stuff on the floor that you could trip over. And Jamie's just kind of walking behind me going, how are you seeing not tripping, not falling, not... I'm like, just follow me. So we make it upstairs to the operating room, which overlooked the parking lot. And that's when I could start feeling the doctors rushing in trying to save his life. Well, Jamie's sitting there with an EMF detector. And I mean, it's spiking just constantly. Walks across to where the doctors would actually be like prepping.
Okay.
Absolutely nothing. He'd walk back. He'd get spikes. He'd walk back. And I mean, we did it for 10 minutes. And then all of a sudden, guy's gone. And I'm just like, what?
I hope he really did this.
Jamie
He does
just looks at me and he's like, whatever that was, the room's dead now. He goes, I'm getting nothing in this room.
There is an empty house feeling out there, isn't there?
Yeah. So
and that's the feeling we like to feel after helping a client.
There's nothing.
Well, yeah, there's the only way I can ever describe it is no one's home.
Yeah.
Even with a house full of people, you don't feel it. Yeah.
But
especially weird in the woods.
Now the funny stories, I'll let Dustin tell.
So the funny story from
Is it actually a paranormal
It's
story?
not
Did you
as-
just get drunk and
No,
lose
no,
your
no,
pants?
it's a
and
paranormal
ask?
story that
it's
happened
a
in the
paranormal story,
hospital.
but didn't have anything to do with ghosts. It had to do with my teammates trying to shank me.
Shank you?
Yes.
Like prison shank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Sure.
periodically through the night we'll take breaks, and we went to where we had our what we call command center, and John and Jamie go, "We're gonna go down and have a vape." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." And as they walked back in, I was like, I'm gonna get charge my phone in the car. So I go all the way down to my car, charge my phone for a little bit, and they're not down there. I'm like, okay. So I come back in, and I'm checking this camera setup we had set right at the door, and I see a flashing light above me. I'm like, what the heck is going on? I look up, I go, I turn around, and here's this guy and Jamie standing there. We were 2 seconds from shanking you because we thought you broke in and were going to steal all our stuff. I'm like, thanks, guys. Thanks.
There's also the fat man in little coat story.
Well,
too.
we don't need to tell that story. Okay, we'll tell that story. So the place is filthy. So we run to Walmart and get painter suits so we don't get stuff all over.
Yeah.
You can see I'm a big guy. One size fits all does not mean one size fits all. So here I am in a painter suit. Yeah.
I completely understand because
get
I'm
where
not much smaller than you, but I've had that come up. This is the haunting of KGGO.com, a KGGO.com exclusive.
You're welcome.
Jon and Dustin from the Ministers of the Haunted are here. You can find out more about them, ministersofthehaunted.com. Okay, so when investigations happen for you guys,
Yep.
what is the single... you don't use the technology as much. What's the single best tool that you have? when you go in?
I'm a fan of my voice recorder. Just because it picks up the stuff I can't hear.
Okay. What's the best piece of evidence? Not like scary or weird or anything like. Just the best piece of evidence.
The best piece of evidence happened while we were at the library in Alden. We'd actually left to go eat. We put a bunch of recorders out
Okay.
because we had complete control of the building. Put the recorders out, come back, and I started listening right away because it was an hour. And while I'm sitting there, all I hear is the sounds of books shuffling. Sound like everything was getting put away, and you could hear when the AC kicked on. So what you could tell it wasn't. I was like, I had like 10 or 12 different instances of that while we were gone.
Wow. That's crazy. Do you have a piece of something? Okay, maybe not so much technology, Jon, but something that you like to take to investigations that helps you with this?
Most of the time I'm running either a digital voice recorder or I use my digital camera that I switch over to black and white, so I'm not getting, what they call the orbs or
the piece of dust.
The piece of dust that's floating in the air. I can eliminate that by changing the hues of the black and white to actually see if there's something.
What do you think of orbs and that sort of thing?
We don't talk about orbs.
Ever? At all?
Mostly we dismiss them just because it can be dust, it can be a bug.
Unless there's a light bar or something that you can't actually explain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which the light bars are weird. It almost looks just like a stick with wings.
Yeah.
A good example of this is at Farrar. Plugging again. Welcome.
Ding!
Ding! We were there on, was that our freezing investigation?
I think that was our freezing investigation.
We went in the middle of winter. There's no heat in that building. It's fun. We had a camera pointing down at the gymnasium, and we saw this speck of light. Looked like an orb, just moving around some objects we put down there.
Okay.
We're like, are we really catching this? Because it was moving with purpose. And we're like, okay, so we immediately went to debunk mode because we have to disprove it before we can say.
Yeah.
And then we're sitting there, we're like, we can't disprove it. So we go about the investigation going, yeah, we got it. And then Justin, another guy who's not here on part of our team, goes, guys, I got bad news. There's a spider 3 inches away from the camera building a web. We're like, oh.
It is frustrating when you think you have that holy grail of evidence, and it turns out to be something you can explain
part of
away.
nature.
Yeah, I've felt bad about doing that. I've had people come and they're like, hey, what do you think of this? And it's like, listen, I think it's a bug. I would be more, I've only ran into like maybe 2 pieces of footage with a orb or something in it that I thought, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
We've got a piece that we can show you that you won't be able to disprove.
The shadow guy.
Shadow guy.
The shadow
I
guy.
saw it. Is that the
The swipe. Through
Yeah. Just a shadow.
Jamie and I tried debunking this for over an hour before we actually went upstairs and said...
And you can find this film on your guys' website.
Yep.
ministersofthehaunted.com. I did see that. That is, and what was so great about that, and I didn't mean to cut you off there, but it was kind of the classic, hey, that's what you see out of the corner of your eye if you were actually looking straight at it.
And what was weird was Jamie is sitting...
We're about as far apart.
Yeah, about as far as what we are. And we have a light set up. We just have a little IR light that's producing that white light that you actually see that's in that basement. And Jamie looks at me and he goes, hey, something just drained my batteries. So he turns to look at me and he's actually changing out his batteries. And that's when you hear me go, oh, I just captured something. And he's like, okay, let's sit here and try disproving this before we actually do anything.
See, I would have liked to seen some of the video of you guys trying to disprove it. And that's just from a watcher's point of view.
Yeah.
Because devil's advocate, it's like, how do I know that just wasn't someone walking in front of the light? I mean, it's a great piece of evidence, but how do I know? You know.
And see, what was weird about this is the way that this basement was set up it was set up for canning.
Okay.
So the entire basement was square shaped and had almost like a ledge that you could sit on.
Okay.
We're sitting on the ledge, and about as far as the window is behind us is the actual back of the wall.
Okay.
So the light is sitting
I wish we had a whiteboard or something here so you could be drawing this.
right in between us. And, we're both wearing hoodies because it is a little chillier out. So I'm like, okay, let's see, is it our string here? Is it one of our foot? Is it our arm moving in front of this light? Is it... We literally tried debunking this, and then after we reviewed all the footage, if you actually slow it down frame by frame by frame by frame, once it hits to a certain part, it's a full body in motion moving.
Yeah.
Like you could see the legs, you could see the arm, and the head is...
Which we didn't sit there and try to manipulate the video because then at that point, you manipulated the video.
Yeah.
So we just kept it live action.
Video clip that is on our page is straight from the camera, put onto the computer, put online.
Yep.
Okay.
If there was no editing, I mean, we clipped the
10
time
seconds
down, but...
What do you guys think of shadow people? Like, what's your take on it?
They're not to be, what is it? I don't know what the term is. They're legit.
Really, that was the term you were looking for? They're legit?
No, I was looking for the...
There's something to be played with.
Not to be hit, but they're legit. That's how I see entities, is in the form of shadow people.
Okay. So do you have any of the
I have
sensory that he may
mine's
that John may have?
Still. I didn't come in with full-blown abilities, but I can feel them emerging. Like the other day, he was talking about the kaleidoscope feel. The other night I was laying in bed and I kaleidoscope and there was somebody's face right in the middle of it. I was like, I have no idea who you are, but what do you want?
We're watching Teletubbies.
No Teletubbies.
He's taking that acid before he goes to bed.
I'm going to have a random drug test tomorrow, aren't I?
But there is a dragon in my room. But really, I mean, there's stuff like that out there. I think people hear terms sometimes like a shadow person or a demon or an apparition or whatever. What's the common one out there, and what do you think is mostly what people see or experience?
I think most people see shadows.
Yeah, most people will see shadows
because that's the easiest for the brain to comprehend.
So what is it? What's your take on it? What do you think it is?
My take is it's just an entity, good, bad, evil, just trying to get your attention.
Okay.
That's basically how I had my first experience. Was shortly after a relative passed away. I saw a shadow person. I didn't feel threatened. I felt calm and at ease, and I knew exactly who it was at that point.
Okay, John.
Shadow people, to me, it's almost like they're there. I mean, you have a lot of people that will believe shadow people are just a figment of your imagination that you're seeing.
Okay.
Well, they're there, and most of the time when you see a shadow person, it's either they're still living, what they did on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
Or
they're kind of stuck in that loop.
Yeah,
of
stuck in a time loop
Okay.
where it's just over and over. That's why we'll go to like a lot of houses where they're like, at this time every night we're getting
The same
this
rent.
happening that's going constantly for 45 minutes to an hour. This is happening. That's going to be one of our hot spots at that time.
Okay.
But a shadow person is, I mean, it's an entity. There is something there, but you also have that, is it just your mind playing the trick on you?
Yeah. Which I think I saw something. I can't confirm or deny it, but I think I did.
And we actually have a piece of evidence that I'll have to find from our library that we were sitting near, it was their little like meeting.
Like where you would sit down
area.
and read the book before you check it out.
And I'm taking photos from behind me, and it blacks out part of the screen. And the next 3 or 4 shots after, nothing.
Okay.
3 or 4 shots beforehand, there's nothing. It's just that quick second, and then it's
And all
gone.
4 of us are in the same spot, so there's no way it could be anybody else.
Okay. Devil's advocate again. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to ever say it couldn't be anything else. It's like the aliens guy. It could only be aliens.
It could only be Bigfoot.
Don't bring that up to Seth because everything is Bigfoot to that guy. Hi, Seth.
Hi, Seth. Hi, Seth.
Now, when people are okay, let's say that I'm a dude that I think there's something going on in my house. I don't know for sure. Maybe I'm skeptical. Maybe I'm, don't really like. I know about this stuff, but I don't know about this stuff. What's your piece of advice for people? Like, what's that first step?
Usually our first step is after we get off the phone with them, we tell them keep a journal. Just write down what happened.
I know you guys are a good group now because that's always been the one thing that I can think of that is the best thing.
Because if you write it down and give it to us, we can sit there and go, okay, this is a repeat offender, or this is something more.
Okay.
Both reasons will show up and see what's going on.
The journal is
but we know what to come with.
Okay, so the journal is and keep it detailed. Like, okay, I saw said light at 9:30 at night.
I saw red eyes at this point. Not necessarily I heard a creak out in the hallway.
Yeah, I was here. Noise or vision or whatever came from over here.
Yep.
Okay. What's your next step? Like at what point if I'm that guy that I think something's going on, I've kept my journal and stuff. At what point do I call in someone like you?
At this point, you've already called us in because we told you to keep the journal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beyond that.
Okay. Beyond that,
You smart ass.
that's my middle name.
Is it really?
No.
Okay.
It should be.
I'm gonna go legally change it.
What if you did?
I could. I've had an interesting story off for that later. The next step would be we would come and do an in-home interview
Okay.
before the investigation. That kind of gives us a feel for you and the house. Or
Like,
wherever
okay, let me ask you this. In some of those interviews, have you ever told people, you know what, I don't think it's worth it?
Yes.
Yeah.
We actually have. We've showed up at a house and said, they'll be doing an interview, and I'll just be like, hey, I'm just going to go walk around your property and see, me being me, what I'm picking up on. And I can look at them point blank, and I'm just like, yep, nope.
And usually at that point, we've already just determined that there's nothing going on here. Sometimes there's people who just want attention.
Okay.
And there's some people who...
Like, what's the reaction? Like, say I did, like you told me there's nothing going on here, but I think something is.
Usually if we think nothing's going on, we will still leave doing a blessing.
Okay.
Because usually the blessing will ease a person's mind.
Okay.
It's that little crutch.
Mind over matter type thing.
I mean, we'll break out the sage, we'll do the whole thing, and just do the blessing, and then check in on them in a couple weeks.
And a lot of the times, if, like, during the blessing or whatever, I'll be talking to the client and going, hey, if you think you have something going on, tell it to leave. Put your foot down. Be stern. Don't show it fear. Don't show it that, oh my God, you're here.
Don't
I'm so
feed
scared.
it.
Yeah. Be the dominant one in your house. And a lot of them will actually call us later on and go, hey, that worked.
And that's the thing that I've heard more times than I can remember is people, they say, no, get the out of my house, and that usually works.
Yeah.
or just stop doing that. Stop hiding my keys. That was the first one I ever heard like that was an old teacher of mine, and something would steal her keys all the time and hide them. And she told it to stop.
And see, our teammate Jamie, he was living in Sulphur, Oklahoma, and he had an entity that was living in his house.
Okay.
That he'd go and he'd put his pepper in the same spot every time, and the entity didn't want it to do it. So following morning, it'd be knocked over to the floor. It'd be up on a ceiling light. It'd be on top of the refrigerator.
On a ceiling light?
Yeah. Like
no
one
way.
of your can lights up here. It'd be sitting up there.
It'd just be sitting up there.
That's insane.
And
he finally goes, okay, where do you want it? Next morning, it's put somewhere, and then he put it back there ever since.
Weird.
And that was his dealing with the entity. And sometimes you just have to commingle. I mean, they were the original ones that were in your house.
Okay.
They
Most
don't
of the
know any
time,
better.
They're not going to be a poltergeist, break your TV or, this. Just
break
go.
my TV. We got problems.
Be like, hey, if you're going to be here, be here. If not, get the F out.
Yeah.
Not to sound like a hippie, but let's live together.
Or you're going to come up with your $350 worth of rent that you need to pay
Yeah,
monthly.
Exactly. How about you help out
Yeah.
a little bit? All right. So, with that in mind, I mean, have you ever gone to and obviously probably you have, but gone to somebody that they're like, yeah, I don't know if there's something going on here, and it's like, holy, there is something going on here.
Hampton?
Hampton.
All right, Hampton, Iowa.
Hampton, Iowa.
Okay. You don't have to say, and I'm guessing residential.
Residential,
Okay.
but we've talked about the story enough vaguely that we probably can do it without even saying their name.
Yeah.
They lived in a old, now I can't think of the word.
No.
Barn, house,
It
bread
was
box.
a house, but it was owned by
Spear.
the church.
Pastor lived in the house.
Partridge.
The
Partridge.
Partridge.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. He lived, that was his domain. That was
Okay.
his house. It's what the church would pay for.
Okay.
He lived there.
It was like a block away from the actual
If
church.
there needed to be, a blessing done or whatnot, there was actually a space created for the blessing to be done.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a baptismal pool in the basement at one point.
Really?
There's stories about that that's interesting
Yeah.
too. We'll get into those.
But the client called us in, and we walked in. It was one of those ones where we walked in to do the interview. They did their journal like we asked. And we all just kind of look at each other, okay, when are we scheduling this?
Like you just knew.
We knew. And just talking to them, we could tell they weren't messing with us. They weren't, oh, you guys...
They're not on drugs. They're not, an alcoholic.
A nice, wholesome family. They were messing with their kids, and we're like, okay, we're all parents. We're taking care of the kids.
The kid ghost stories are crazy.
Yeah. I keep my son doesn't even know he's got some protection in his room, but he does.
My daughter has multiple protection. My son, luckily enough, is slowly starting to gain the abilities that I have, and he's going to be a year in November.
I've got a couple funny ones for you.
But
here
we go
but-
investigate this house, and we find that there's a portal in there.
A portal.
A portal. It was actually in a closet. The family cat helped us find it.
Really?
Yep.
You don't hear the term portal thrown around a
Right.
ton. Is it just exactly like it was in He-Man, where it was, a portal that goes from point A to point B? How does a portal get into somebody's house?
A lot of it is the way of the natural lay of the land.
Okay.
If
Like
there's
ley lines and that sort of
limestone,
thing?
If there's
What the house is built on,
if there was at one time running water that went through there that was closed up. I mean, limestone, water,
or a big pool of holy water.
or a big pool of holy water that is blessed, quote unquote blessed. I mean, you're creating an open gate.
Yep.
Is the easiest way of putting it.
All right, so dude has big, pool in his basement, creates a portal.
The rumor, and we can't find any newspaper clippings to confirm this, is that the pastor accidentally drowned a couple people
Murdered 2 women.
in the baptismal pool.
Okay. Wonderful.
This got deep really quick.
And the only reason that we knew it was the pastor is because, me fitting into crawl spaces, around the basement itself, there was old whiskey bottles.
Nice.
That were-
No, that was Pastor knew how to party.
Yeah.
Tucked far back in the corner, and we were running the investigation. I sat down and I said, all right, you MFer, let me see what you actually have.
Nice job with the self-censor.
And he came and overtook, and that's when I could see the women being murdered and him
Like purposely.
purposely, like he was strangling them underneath the water.
Like, hey, I'm coming in to get a baptism, and I got killed in the process.
Yeah.
Okay.
He didn't like me very well either.
No, and he was a SOB to get rid of.
But you did.
We got him.
Yes, and
So what does that do? Like, is that the do you put him in the cooler and take him out to a field and just leave him, or what happens there?
Yeah, pretty much. That's the easy way to put it.
yeah,
Without telling where we put him, yeah.
yeah. Most of the time, they are
What, did I hit it on the head or something? Or
they're
Yeah, you pretty
contained
much-
in an object, and then said object gets either dropped off at
At the closest, what's the word?
you don't have to,
sanctuary.
Yeah.
Would be
see, and that's that I've heard that before. Like I know one dude that's got like a vault of just haunted S.
Jamie.
Jamie's got a few of ours.
Okay, so you put this guy in a thing and now he's on someone's desk. What?
No, this guy, he's in a.
But I mean, is that what essentially what it is? It's catching essentially
Catch and keep.
catch and keep.
It's
Okay.
almost like putting somebody in prison and throwing away the key.
So how much of it is like, because you always see in the movies and all that, it's like, hey, go move on. That's not as big of a thing, or
Some, like the ones where you tell them to go away. This is
this
my
sounds
house.
more like a binding or something.
Yes.
Yes, it's very, very close to a binding, except I'm the binder.
You're the trapper keeper.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay, so that's how that one ended. So what do you do about a portal?
Massively, 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 massively bless and black salt everything.
Black salt.
It is Himalayan pink rock salt
Okay.
mixed with burned sage that is actually finely ground down.
Okay.
And what it does is it will keep and close any sort of negative energy that is in the area.
All right, with that in mind, how many of these cases do you come across where it's somebody that's been playing around with something like, hey, I'm going to make black salt or Himalayan death salt or something,
The Northwood case.
Or
I'm
blood
gonna-
box.
or I'm going to do candle magic or something. How many of this stuff do you come across and it's just like, okay, you were trying to spackle the wall, you mess it up, I have to fix it.
2 or 3 cases where it was somebody that was trying to play with the unknown and
Trying to get luck to go in their favor. They found some spell on Pinterest and like, I'm gonna,
God.
they're like, oh, hey, I can go to Walmart and buy these candles and da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
not
and-
knowing that they're actually doing damage to them, to their environment, to themselves.
But we had a case in Northwood that the lady, the second time we went in to investigate, the first time she didn't tell us anything about her doing
she forgot about it at the time.
any sort of
You forget about that.
any sort of blood magic.
Any type of magic you've ever done in your entire life, is there something
But
in this house?
the reason we went is because their child was autistic
Okay.
and was speaking to these things, was talking to these things. I mean, they were physically harming him.
Oh, man.
And on the autistic spectrum, their mind is running at 1,000,000 miles per minute. So they're able to go to the beyond and actually be able to talk to these things. And they're like, well, is he just going to be a portal for things to come to? It's like, no, he's going to talk to them.
Okay.
But that's when you come into play and say, you're not allowed here.
Yeah. You be the parent.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we removed the object, a week later, everything stopped.
Weird.
And yeah, when you start
I think that one's
playing
still at
with,
Jamie's.
Yeah, that's living on Jamie's front porch because he won't bring it into the house yet.
Our
But
wives
what-
don't like it when we bring stuff home.
But when you start playing with
I
stuff,
always take a shower afterwards.
Oh, that don't help.
you better know what you're dealing
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've got books at home that are dealing with demons and stuff from King Solomon that
Yeah.
you can conjure and play with and have them do your biting, but you better know how to control your stuff. If not,
That's the genie in the bottle thing.
yeah, you're kind of SOL'd.
Okay. That took a turn.
You weren't expecting that one.
Well, it's not that I wasn't expecting it, but I mean, it's always there's a building process to that
Yep.
in these interviews where it's like, lay the groundwork for, who are you guys? What do you
Yep.
do? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, we found a portal in some dude's basement.
Yeah.
Because he was murdering people,
That's
possibly.
The funny part about that one was he didn't like me at all. So, a little bit backstory. My family is from the Hampton area.
Okay.
And at one point in my family's history, my grandfather owned a strip club.
Nice.
Right?
What was it called?
The Silver Fox. Originally in Coulter, moved to Rowan, and then ended up in Clarion, I believe. Moved with him when he moved.
The Silver Fox. Yeah. It's a good name for
a
club.
We always joke at family gatherings that we're going to revive it. All the male cousins and our aunts go, no, you're not. I said my name and who my grandparents were, my parents, my grandparents. Immediately after I said my grandparents' name, I got circled repeatedly. We use a REM pod that has a temperature sensor. He wouldn't get close enough to set it off, but he'd get close enough to set the temperature off.
Okay.
And every time we would talk about the strip club, the temperature would drop 5 degrees.
All right.
I'm like, okay.
We know where you were partying.
Yeah.
You knew each other. Awesome.
Church and strip club. That's a pretty good headbutt.
What? This is the haunting of KGGO.com, a KGGO.com exclusive. Jon and Dustin from the Ministers of the Haunted are in with me now. You can find out more about them, ministersofthehaunted.com. We'll have all the information at the bottom of the page. Guys, as we wrap this up, what's the one thing about the paranormal that really sticks out to you? I know it's kind of a broad question.
That's a deep question.
Don't play with things that you don't know how to control.
Okay.
That's the easiest way. Don't go out searching for the unknown, and once you find it, be like, oh, you can come stay in my house. No, like, if you're going to go out and try finding the unknown,
okay,
you better know what you're playing up against, because there's multitudes of entities out there. It's not just, oh, this is just a shadow person. This shadow person could turn around and be a demon.
Yeah.
The shadow person can turn around and be...
Well, it's always like when people are doing the Ouija board or something like that. It's like, hey, I want to talk to my Uncle Jerry. How do you know that's your Uncle Jerry? How the do you know?
A lot of it is...
It's a board moving with letters.
I put it as it's your mindset.
Yeah.
If you're going to go, hey, I want to talk to this person on a Ouija board, you're not thinking about it, but you're the one that's in control of that planchette. You're the one that's moving it.
How about you?
I guess mine would be more advice for people out there. If you do need an investigation, don't let anybody charge you. Good, proper teams will not charge you to come check out what's going on in your house.
We're nonprofit.
If they try to charge you, find somebody else.
I always like the ones that they go, well, we're certified. From who?
There is no professional ghost hunter.
There is no paranormal expert. We're all practicing in the field.
That it is funny though that people come across that they're like, oh, well, we're certified. From who? Well, you know,
I mean, there are associations, like we're part of the National Paranormal Society, but it's not anything impressive. But we are.
We're also all ordained.
Yeah, we're all ordained ministers, all of us.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much for coming in today.
No problem.
I appreciate it. I hope you had fun on this. Happy Halloween to you.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Should we plug Farrar one more time?
Farrar, and Farrar.
You guys got an event coming up later on this month. What is it?
Yeah, it's a Farrar Halloween Bash. Tickets are available at huntingatfarrar.com. I forgot what the date is off the top of my head.
October 26th. That's
all that info is at huntingatfarrar.com.
Just put it on the website. It'll be fine.
Just put it on the website.
And if anybody wants to contact you guys, maybe they've got something going on, maybe they're interested, for any reason, how do they get a hold of you guys?
The easiest way would be just go either to our Facebook page,
okay,
or our website. We have a contact us information on there, and it all goes to all of us at the same time.
Cool, perfect. Jon, Dustin, thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate it, guys.
No problem. Thank you.
Enjoy it, and thank you for coming back for the haunting of KGGO.com, a KGGO.com exclusive. We will see you next time.